Greetings everyone and welcome back to the Pokédex Journal. Today's video is going to be a little bit different because we're not opening anything. Instead, we are going to a trade show here in Copenhagen, and I figured it would be fun to just record it a little bit and see where it goes. Of course, we don't have like an amazing camera or a great microphone setup, so the quality will be, whatever. But I figured I would show you real quick what I'm bringing to the show and then talk about what I am hoping to get. First and foremost, we have this ETB filled with absolute nothing really. It's just like leftover EX cards and a few V cards, stuff like that we can use to trade. There is a trading table there, so if there's some kids or some players, they're like, oh, I need that EX for my deck, I can trade those for maybe some small illustration rares I can put in the Pokédex binder. So that's what's in there. Then we have these, which is actually kind of special. These are the Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby limited collection steel tins that you got for, I think, pre-ordering the game back when they came out. And the game is no longer here. I already got rid of the game many years ago, but I still have these steel tins, and I actually didn't know I had these. They were just kind of like in my closet. And I figured at the trade show, there might be someone who's like video game interested and would like to pick those up. I think they're neat, but I don't really get any joy out of having them just away in my closet. So I figured if I can trade that for something, that'd be cool as well. Then we have probably the most niche item, my first PSA card, but this PSA card is also a little special because it is a PSA 1 Gardevoir Sylveon GX, which there's only 2 of in the entire world. There's only 2 that got a grading of 1. And I'm bringing this not necessarily to sell it, but just to get an opinion on the traders there, what they think this is worth. Because as I said, there's only 2 of them in the world. So it's really hard to put a value on it at a PSA 1. So I'm bringing this mostly to get offers or just to hear what they think it should be worth. And then if someone like offers me 1,000 euros, I will throw it at their face. So I'm not unwilling to let this go, but I'm mostly bringing it just to figure out like, okay, what is this worth? Then the final thing I am bringing here is my top loader binder. My top loader binder doesn't actually have that much in it, but the stuff it does have is pretty cool. You can see here we have all the EVV maxes, most of them from Evolving Skies, Umbreon from Brilliant Stars, and the Espeon from Fusion Strike. On the next page, more evolutions, trainer gallery of the original 3. Then we have the Espeon Deoxys, Snorlax Eevee, and Darkrai Umbreon tag teams. V-Star, Leafeon, and Glaceon, and then Sylveon EX from the Radiant collection, I believe. Vaporeon, Jolteon, Flareon, Umbreon, Eevee, Espeon, Leafeon, Glaceon, and Sylveon V. And honestly, that is like 99% of the binder. On the next few pages, I have like a few Evolution promo cards, and then I have my extra cards, so to speak, from Destined Rivals. I wrote the prices on those for trading just to make it a little bit easier. They go up and down all the time, so I just checked the prices yesterday and threw that on with a black marker. It's on the top loader, of course, not on the card, don't worry about that. Then we have this pretty cool Mega Houndoom, Primal Groudon, and Mega Altaria I got in a trade a long time ago. I don't feel like they fit too well in the Pokédex binder, so I'm willing to trade those away. And then there's also like Team Rocket's Giovanni, a few Master Balls, Clive Full Art, Gold Energy, extra Wobbuffet promo. And then I have this Flesh and Blood mythical, I think, or majestic rarity card. I don't play Flesh and Blood, but I got to open a booster recently and this was in there, and apparently it's worth like 10, 15 euros. So if someone there collects or plays Flesh and Blood, I figure I can trade that for some Pokemon cards. And then on the next page, there's nothing. That's it. My trading binder is not really here because 99% of cards we pull go straight into the Pokédex binder. So it's not like I have a ton to trade with. I'm not entirely sure I want to get rid of any of these, but I am playing with the idea of getting all of the Prismatic Evolution EVs for the Pokédex binder. And to do that, I probably do need to trade some of these away. I already have the Leafeon and the Sylveon Prismatic, which are like the 2 most expensive if you ignore Umbreon. So we'll see, maybe we can find an Umbreon that's not in perfect condition and the seller is willing to give us a good price. We'll see. For now, guys, this is what we're bringing. Let's go to the show. And I now realize recording this that I forgot to tell you what I was after on this show, but my goal for the show was to get my hands on the Milotic EX from Searching Sparks, as well as Team Rocket's Moltres. That was what I was hoping to get. Will I get them? Well, you'll just have to watch and find out.
Got that.
So we arrived at the show a couple of hours after it opened, and it was still so busy there. There were so many people everywhere, it was really hard getting a look at anything really. And even worse than that, it was raining on that day, but it was still quite hot, so the humidity inside of this hall was through the roof. It was so sweaty, everyone was having a really hard time keeping cool. Still a really cool place, lots of vendors. And as you can see, tons and tons and tons of Pokemon product. Due to us not really having a great microphone, I'm just gonna speak over what we're doing as we're doing it. When we first arrived, we kind of just went to whichever vendors was there, and it wasn't, you know, super crowded. Had a look in some of their binders. Right now in this clip, I'm looking through a vintage binder. I'm not really a type of person who buys vintage, but it's always cool seeing stuff from your childhood and being like, oh yeah, I remember having that one. At this table, we also found something that was very important to us, Baby Shiny binder. My girlfriend is a big fan of Baby Shinies, so you'll probably see us pick out a few Baby Shinies as we go through this. Her goal was to get a cute card and a pink card, and as you'll see by the end of the video, I think we succeeded in that part. There was one part we failed to do, that was trying to get the Tandemaus Baby Shiny. We simply couldn't find anyone there who had one. There were tons of Baby Shinies, but no Tandemaus, so that'll be a continued goal for us to find one for her collection. Besides Baby Shinies, my girlfriend also collects full art trainers with cute girls and really anything cute. So you'll see us starting to make a pile of cards that she really likes, and we actually forgot to buy these. We put them at the table, asked the vendor to put them aside while we found something else, and then like 2 hours later we came back and we were like, we're so sorry, we forgot to buy the cards, do you still have them? And luckily they did. So everything you see us putting on the table right here, we ended up picking up for the girlfriend's binder. Now you might notice many of these stands are fairly big, and that's because most hobby, or rather Pokemon sellers here in Denmark are also hobby stores. We are a small country, so there's not that many individual big collectors that also has a stand. And yeah, you'll see a mix of raw cards, slabs, high-end cards, valuable cards, which is the same as high-end cards I believe, but basically every of the stands will have a good mix of everything. There's not really someone you go to for only PSA cards or only raw cards. So everyone got a decent mix of everything. Here we're looking at some of the very cool like high-end cards. They have the Team Aqua's Kyogre, which is one of my favorite cards of all time. If it wasn't like the same as half my rent, I would have bought it right there. Also have the Dialga from Astral Radiance, and yeah, there's just so many cool cards that I could have spent every single penny on. But that's why I set myself some goals before going to any show like this, because if you don't set those and you are the type of person like me who just buys things because they look great, you're gonna burn your fingers walking into a show like this if you don't already have a established plan on your budget. After walking around for a little bit, we decided to go to the trading area just to see if there's anyone who was willing to trade. We talked with a few people, but we only actually made one trade, which was the special illustration rare Reveroom from Obsidian Flames, I believe. We traded that for some various EX cards, and that was the only trade we made that day. For trading, it was completely fine. We didn't get to trade as much here. We were mostly here to look at various cards and pick up some cool ones for the Pokédex journal. Back on the floor, we stumble upon a binder with more cards my girlfriend was interested in, so of course we picked up a few from here as well. And I think the sound she makes really tells the story of why she loves the Clever card so much.
Er det okay at tage dem ud og ligge til side?
Besides the Clever card, we also found a Chinchino from the Radiant collection and one other card which I don't remember right now and I can't quite see it in the footage, but we got a few more cards for my girlfriend's binder, and I promise I also bought something. It just so happened that we found some cards for the girlfriend first. Alright, finally my turn, and now we are actually looking at getting the Milotic SIR from Searching Sparks. We looked around at so many different vendors before we found it, but we finally found a place that had it, and I asked if he was interested in taking any of my cards, and then I would pay some cash on top, and luckily we came out to a deal, so I can now happily say that yes, I did get one of the cards that I was going into the show to get, which was of course the Milotic SIR. No, it's not super clear here in the footage, but I just think it's such a beautiful card. I already have the Feebas from Searching Sparks, and those two right next to each other in the Pokédex binder will surely look amazing. I also asked if he knew anyone that might be interested in the Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby Steel Tins, and he said that I should go ask some of the other vendors, so I didn't actually manage to trade those with anyone here at the show, but it was cool that people were willing to say like, oh yeah, these are cool, I don't know anyone exactly, but maybe go ask these guys over there. So it's really just a nice community, no matter what you have. If it's Pokemon related, there'll be someone there who will be happy to help you try and figure out where to sell them or trade them, or otherwise just tell you to keep them. Shortly after getting the Milotic, we stumbled upon a vendor who had Team Rocket's Moltres, one of the other cards I was hoping to get at this show. However, as it turns out, the prices on some of these Destined Rival cards are still all over the place, and as such, we decided to skip out on the Moltres for now because it actually dropped 20 euros from the day before to the show, and I was just not super comfortable putting in that amount of money for the cards right now because it could keep dropping, it could stabilize at that price point, but for now I felt more safe just saying no to that one. However, we did also find the Genesect alt art from Fusion Strike, the one where he is breakdancing, and that one is surprisingly cheap, so I ended up trading my hyper rare Ethan's Ho-Oh for it straight over, and I think that was a great pickup as well. The rest of the day we just walked around looking at different cards, and actually I went back to the vendor who sold me the breakdancing Genesect and picked up a few more pretty cool cards. At the end of the show he got some trade-ins. We forgot to film that part, so here's just a short clip of the cards, but I'll show you all the cards we got at the end of the video as well. But yeah, rest of the day just walking around the show, looking at binders, looking for that shiny baby Tandemaus, which unfortunately we were just not able to find, but hey, it was super cool. This was not my first card show, but it was my first card show going with my girlfriend, and it was just a really good experience. She was the camera woman on this expedition, so any praise of camera work goes to her. I am just the humble editor sitting here in my living room comfortably, just, you know, recording myself talking. And we are back from the show. Today's actually the day after the show, but yeah, we were tired. So we're recording this the day after to show off everything we got. First and foremost, something I forgot to show in the video is that we also picked up one of the new simplified Chinese packs. These are, you know, just Pokemon as you know them, but there are some limited edition, not limited edition, some cards limited to the Chinese version, and they also have a different pattern for like the Pokeballs and stuff, as you can see here. So we opened the pack, we got a Sprigatito Pokeball, and this is what I believe is supposed to be like the reverse hollow or hollow version special texture. It's basically like how our EX cards are here in Europe or in the West, with stars and all that stuff all over it. Then we had a shiny Quaxwell, I believe this one is called. And then finally, actually, is Quaxwell the little one? I forget, but we had both of these. I quite like the way they do hollow on these cards. Of course, like, we don't really collect Chinese cards, but we picked them up nonetheless because it was a cute little pack. It was very cheap, so we figured we'd just go ahead and open one. Then over here, I have my girlfriend's binder. I'm just using this and showing it off real quick because she already put her cards in the binder. Let's see if we can find all of them. First and foremost, there was the Cleffa illustration rare right here. She was very happy to get that one. She also got the Tinkertuff Baby Shiny, Roseanne's Backup, as well as Gardenia's Vigor. Oh, and the Lacy right in the middle, she got that one as well. And then she also got the Baby Shiny Minccino and the Radiant Collection Cinccino. This one is actually really cute. I think I showed it off in the video. Not sure how well it shows on camera, but there's like small hearts on the hollow. Yeah, very, very cute little card. I honestly wish they did more hollows like that. Like, I get that they have to keep a certain pattern, not to just have too many of them, but the normal reverse hollows are just a little bit boring when compared to some of these more fancy ones. But you know, the next anniversary is coming up sometime next year, so maybe they'll come back with a Radiant collection. That would be pretty cool and would just look very nice. And then here are my pickups from the same place. Let's see here, we got these cards right here, the Latias from the Surging Sparks, Celebi V from Fusion Strike, Genesect V from Fusion Strike, the Tatsugiri illustration rare, and the Houndour illustration rare. We all got that from the same place. It was that vendor I showed in the video, and they actually also do YouTube POVs, vendor POVs, but they do them in Danish, so I will include their link to the channel or an image of their channel here. So if you happen to be Danish and you want to watch some of those, go ahead and take a look. But I picked these up because they're all some cards I am missing from the Pokédex binder, and they're just really cool. We did actually pull the full art Genesect from our own Fusion Strike packs, but I think this one looks way better, and it's also, for some reason, extremely cheap. A lot of the old alternate art cards are getting insane in value. Thinking about the Gengar VMAX from Fusion Strike, for example, that card is worth like, what, $1,000 by now? It's very expensive. So this one still being this cheap, I just had to pick it up now because it's just really cool. It's a good illustration. It's a nice, just fun card, and I think it's undervalued. That's just me. I didn't pick it up to sell it or trade it later on. I just think for the price it is at right now, this is an easy pickup. The Latios is just one of the chase cards from Surging Sparks, in my opinion, despite just being an illustration rare. At some point, I hope I can pick up the the Latias from Surging Sparks as well, so they can be next to each other in the binder. I think that would look amazing because their arts do actually connect. Tatsugiri is just a funny little sushi guy. Yeah, also a very cool card. The Houndour is cool, but honestly, I just got it mostly because I already have the Houndoom from Shrouded Fable, the other way around. So I think this one will look very nice in the binder next to it. And then finally, Celebi V is also starting to probably go up there in terms of price. So I figured picking it up now while it was still like a 50 euro card would be a good idea. Then we have the River Special Illustration Rare, which I actually traded for. Not really a card I'm super excited about, but it's one of those pickups where, you know, I traded a few EX cards and I got this in trade, so I'm pretty happy with that. And then finally, the big one, in my opinion, the Milotic EX, traded away a bunch of my Destined Rivals, extra hits and stuff like that for this one. It's very, very beautiful. I'm taking it out of the sleeve just to show, I just think it's such an amazing card. It is fairly expensive, like at around $120. Luckily, I did not have to pay $120, sorry, 120 euros. Luckily, I didn't have to pay that much for it because, as I said, they took a lot of my extra Destined Rivals cards in trade. So I was able to just pick this one up for fairly cheap. So yeah, super happy with getting that one. And I have a habit of just showing the back and the front despite none of these cards going to PSA. It's just, I know people care about it. For me, I'm never sending any of these to PSA unless I want them to just be in like a protective slab. And even at that point, I might just do it myself kind of, because it's way cheaper to just buy something to put them in yourself than to send them to PSA to put the slab on it. But all those cards are being added to the Pokédex binder, which you will see right now. And that is going to be the end of this buyer's POV at our first show. Well, the first show we filmed, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, let me know in the comments below. That way I know that you want to see more of these kinds of videos, and I'll bring the camera to more shows. But if you feel like, you know, you'd rather just not see this and just prefer the pack openings and putting the cards in the Pokédex binder, that's totally fine as well. Just leave me your feedback in the comments below. What can we do better? And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and until I see you again, I hope you have a wonderful time.